Just morning calisthenics. There we go. Stretch a little bit. Hey guys, what's going on? It says we're live. How's everybody doing? This is Caliber Corner. I want to welcome everybody back. It's Sunday morning. It's not our usual time, and that's okay. I was busy this weekend. I went out of town Friday and didn't get back until late afternoon yesterday. Had some stuff going on with some friends and family. Had a good time. But I am back here to do an episode for you today, so we have to make that up at some point, so that's why we're doing it right now. This is Caliber Corner. Story. What's that?
A likely story.
Oh no, it's totally true. It's online. You can watch it. So we have season 3, podcast number 186. We'll be hitting season 4 at the end of May of Caliber Corner. 4 years that I've had to age with this guy next to me, Night Strike over here, and AWAG, who was like 12 when he started with us. You know,
right?
I don't even know if that was even legal to have him on the show. So I don't know if we didn't have press consent or anything like that to put him on the program.
Probably wasn't, but you know,
no, it probably wasn't. No, by the way, AWAG was like 19 at the time. So now he's like 27 or something. But anyway, to welcome everybody to the show. We got a lot of information for you. You're going to be seeing a lot more videos on my channel here coming up. And joining me today, I sent out a lot of invites. I don't know. Why would you not want to be here at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning? We're going to try not to core Giz or Gary. We should be done before Giz or Gary's show starts up. I think it's 9 a.m. Central Time, if I'm not mistaken. You guys out there in the chat watching, if you could correct me, that'd be great. Or let me know if Giz or Gary fires up at 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure it's 9 a.m. on Sundays. But we'll be done before then. But let's let our panelist introduce himself. Off to my left over here, I've got Night Strike. Night Strike, you're awake. It's Sunday morning. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I should be back in bed. I could go back to sleep. I could get another few hours.
I need you here. I need you.
All right.
It's 7:15. I'm a little lonely, and I need you now. Isn't that a song? That's a country song.
It probably is somewhere. I'm not really.
I think it's 12, if I'm not mistaken. So
I prefer old cowboy music from the 50s.
Well, yeah. Oh, I love. I've got my decades of country music I like to listen to. Yeah.
I prefer Burl Ives, Marty Robbins, that kind of thing.
Yeah, down in the old West Texas town of El Paso, right? Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm more fan. No, for all those Fallout fans, I'm more of a fan of Big Iron.
Ah, there you go.
Yep.
I'm having my second cup of coffee this morning. I went to bed last night at 9:30, which is my usual bedtime during the week. And I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I said, you know what? We're doing a show today. I'm awake. I'm going to get going. I got the dog out for a walk already. Sun's not even up behind me here in Nebraska. So Night Strike, you got a show that you do. Why don't you let people know about this show? What is your podcast called? What do you do exactly?
Travis, you should know this. You used to be the unofficial co-host.
I still am. I've just been on hiatus because of work. But please tell us, enlighten us about this program that you host on Tuesday nights. I don't want to steal your thunder.
It's hit or miss. Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
On the Night Strike 1 YouTube channel, in case people forgot where it was.
That's 8 o'clock Central Time, Tornado Alley time zone. Because we're trying to get our own time zone set up as Tornado Alley as its own time zone. Because at some point, Tornado Alley is going to secede from the Union and be its own country because, the Midwest and the Great Plains were the last bastion of hope and freedom for this country, I think.
Well, the problem is we get tornadoes in South Carolina, too. So,
no, it's possible. We can include you guys, too. There's a few little islands of freedom that'll be off to the right. That'll be like our little suburbs and stuff like that. And where do you live? You live in East Carolina?
Yeah, I live in, Charleston, South Carolina.
West Carolina. Okay, I got you. That's right next to North Virginia, right?
No, not at all.
They never taught us geography or whatever in grade school, so
that's okay. You're like right next to Kansas, right?
Yeah, Kansas is to our south.
You're just a hop and a jump away from Wyoming.
Yeah, actually, we were pretty close to Wyoming, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, the Dakotas, Iowa, Missouri.
Yeah.
Hey guys, also joining us, we got a little single shot action going on. Single shot, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How you
I bet he's driving right now.
I hope
not yet.
Not yet. I was going to say Sunday morning at 8 a.m. where he is. I hope he's not driving. Good God, man.
I wouldn't put it past him sometimes.
Oh, God,
I've been known to get up and get rolling by 5 or 6 o'clock.
You too, huh? You too? By the way, if anybody ever needs a wake-up call, just reach out to Travis P11. I got you covered. So I'm usually up at 4:30 every morning.
I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you do it.
If you go to bed soon enough, you get enough sleep, you just naturally wake up at that time. I'm a teacher. I haven't slept in past 7 a.m. since 2001, I think. So, but hey, Night Strike. Somebody's asking a question on the YouTube side. The Friday night strikes, do you still do those?
Yeah, I did one this week.
Yes, you did. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're usually like 5 or 6 o'clock, aren't they?
Yeah.
7 o'clock your time.
It's whenever I can get to it right now.
Mhm.
The Thursday edition strike and the Friday night strike are when I can get to it. They're not fixed times. I kind of just set them up, and if I get to them, I get to them on time. And if I don't, well, you'll just have to wait for me because traffic is a bitch.
There you go. And then Single Shot, you got a channel out there on YouTube too. What's your channel all about, man? What do you do?
That is all about the single shot versions of firearms, pistols, rifles, etc. And I do have other items that I cover there as well. And the segue is, I should put it actually on another channel, make another channel, is Echoes. That's my own opinions about things, and sometimes they can be rather strong.
Okay. I got you, man. Hey, I got a B channel that's got all things non-firearm related called Coffee, Computers, and More. So, nothing wrong with having a B channel. It's kind of fun to have a second channel. You can reach out to maybe a different audience, different demographic,
I gotta set my B channel up too.
Yeah, you should. Call it B Night Strike. So there you go.
No, I've got one. I've got 2 channels, but I only use one.
Ah, okay. I gotcha. Now Single Shot's channel with single space shot ! If you guys are looking for it on YouTube. And I say this every episode. I've always got somebody, like 1 or 2 people that email me. They're like, how do I find Single Shot's channel again? And the way I'm running stuff right now, it's a little hard for me to try to cut and paste the link up there. But if you guys get a chance, you can do that. Somebody wants to post a Single Shot's channel up there on the YouTube side, we'll get it out there for people. But do that. So
now, Travis, I have a very important question for you.
Go right ahead. What is your question?
This is super important. I see it right behind you in the background. Is that a Henry?
I have 2 Henrys and 1 in a bag actually on the table. So SS Pawn, the sponsor of this podcast and a great sponsor of this channel, Stan, has loaned me several firearms to make videos for, which I'm going to start doing in about 10 days, 15 days. We'll be hitting the range, probably do 5-6 days in a row of range videos. And we've got a Henry Golden Boy right here. And we have just a blued Henry with an octagonal barrel in the bag behind me. And then we've got a pump action Henry 22 with an octagonal barrel right there. And then this is a Rossi RS-22, which I just picked up a couple weeks ago. Defense Dad and I bought them on the same day, actually. And that's going to be testing on the channel, too. It's just like a Mossberg Plinkster 502, 702.
Sorry, I had to address the elephant in the room because I saw shiny brass, and there's only one rifle that does shiny brass these days, and that's Henry.
Does Rossi or...
no, Rossi doesn't do it.
Or how about Uberti?
Uberti pistols might have the brass handguard, or the brass trigger guard, but that's about as far as they go.
Okay. Well, guys, I've got a lot of announcements for you. The first one is I'm approaching 40,000 subscribers. I'm hoping that happens in about the next 2 months. There is going to be a firearm giveaway that's going to be done in conjunction with SS Pawn. It is going to be a 1911. It's going to be really cool. And I will get the details about that out there to you guys. In past giveaways, I've had a thing where you've just simply had to leave a comment on a video and you've been entered into the drawing. I'm probably going to require you to be a subscriber. I really want a subscriber to win this one, so that might be one of the requirements for it. You'll obviously have to be in a state where you can accept the firearm. You have to be a resident or a citizen or anybody that can legally accept and use a firearm without any kind of legal restrictions.
You know what, Travis? I'll sit this one out so everyone else can win.
There you go. Well, we gave away a Ruger Wrangler when I hit 20 or 25,000 subscribers. That was a lot of fun. And I can't remember who won that. If that was, off the top of my head, I cannot remember who got it. But it was somebody that's been a long time subscriber. It was actually a patron of mine that got it. I'm not going to require you to be a patron to win it because I don't want to force people into having to watch content. But it would be cool to have people, sign up over on Patreon. So we'll be giving away a 1911 chambered in 45 ACP. So it'll be a lot of fun. That's going to be coming up here pretty soon. We'll probably do that drawing this summer. And the next thing I want to announce is I want you guys, and I'll post the links here as soon as I can. I want you guys to get over to the Sandhill Shooter channel. I want you to subscribe to his channel. He's another Nebraskan. He's got a great channel. Does a lot of stuff for the 2A, especially the rights of gun owners in Nebraska. He's on the NFOA board.
Yeah.
And
his schedule has been kind of out
yeah.
there.
So what I want to talk about is his wife is currently battling lymphoma and had a recent surgery and going through treatments. And so if you could support him and help the family out, that'd be cool. And to do that, I'm going to post a link to his Patreon over here in the chat, so you guys can get over there and help him out a little bit. He produces a lot of great content. I want you guys to go over and do so. And let's see here. Again, somebody who just dedicates his time in life to producing gun content, to fighting for the 2A in Nebraska. And again, are
you sure we should set up a GoFundMe for him or something?
I was gonna, if he's comfortable with that, that's something we can make happen, and we can really get the word out there. Then there's also
I know a ton of people who would love to help out. Okay,
maybe we can make a call here and see what we can get lined up. That'd be really cool. And then also over on blackswantactical.com, he's got a collection of shirts with lymphoma awareness, and it's got the little slogan that they're going with right now. And you guys can check out that stuff, and that would also help support him and his family too. So if you do that, that would be great. But anyway, that's something I want you guys to look into. He also does a show. Now, I believe it's a Get Off My Lawn podcast. I believe it's going to be Thursday nights at 8. It was 8 or 9 when the show is going to happen. I think it's going to stay Thursday nights. It used to be Tuesday night after Hit or Miss, Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. And that's moved over to Thursdays. So that's something I want you guys to do if you could do so. And we'll talk about a GoFundMe here and maybe get that up and running. So, all right. So the topic for today, and by the way, good news. DefenseNet and I ran up to our local Shields, and they had a ton of ammunition in stock. Remington UMC is back in production. Love it or hate it. It's ammo. It's on the shelves. They were asking $14.99 for a box of 20 of 223.55 grain. Now, before you say, well, Shields is price gouging, UMC has always been $5 more per box than anything I've ever bought, it seems like.
You didn't break Defense Dad's newest gun, did you? Okay.
No, because we both bought the same one. So, well, he's bought in several guns since then. But anyway.
Well, you know, I remember you broke that other one, so I just had to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And destroyer of firearms.
Not too many. There's been some guns I've broken on the channel before, like the Sky CPX2 and Defense Dad's brand new G3C 5 rounds in. But that's not the point. Back to the ammo real quick. And then they also had, our local Shields also has 62 grain PMC bronze, 62 grain lap for $10.99 for a box of 20, which is pretty fair. And then they also get Hornady Frontier in for like $10 or $11.99. I don't remember the price for the 45 or the 40 ACP, but it was basically pre-pandemic pricing. Now, the only bad thing about that Remington ammo is it tends to be a little bit higher than, say, Fiocchi or, PMC, or some of those Blazer. But it's ammo. It's on the shelves. And then they also got a bunch of 22 LR in, which was kind of the inspiration for today's discussion. They have gotten some boxes of 800 rounds of Federal for $64.99 a box, $65 a box, basically. And I picked up a few of those. And then finally, for the first time in 6 months, they had CCI mini mags on the shelf, and they were selling 100 round boxes for $10.99, which I thought was really fair, considering that's going for $70 a box on Gunbroker right now. And then they were selling 50 rounds of CCI Stingers for $10.90 or $11.99 or $12.99 a box, which is a little more expensive, but that's a bit more of a premium round, nickel coated cases and so on. So it should be pretty good, but. Yeah, a little bit of comments out there. So let's see who's joining us on the YouTube side. Who are the early birds that are here on this Sunday morning? We got Snake Doctor 78 out there. We got some tacos and French fries. Let's see. We got a little Rich White going on out there. Rich White says that there are some remakes out of Italy with brass receivers. Yeah, there's a few other companies that make them. Mike is out there. Thomas Rees is watching. Night Strike is over there and over here. M. Gabriel says, does Single Shot ever put on a cattle drive? Are you mean like a convoy of semis, or like in a pickup truck leading cattle from pasture to pasture? So I wasn't sure, M. Gabriel, what you're asking about, but we'll find out. Scott 79's out there this morning, and I think that's about everybody. And then Mike says Bornin.
You got Jason Yendell.
Jason Yendell just joined in. Let's see.
Yeah, Thomas Reese.
So Thomas Reese says, not trying to change the topic. Well, we haven't gotten into it, so we got some time to talk here. Did you see Kentucky Ballistics video about his 50 BMG blowing up on him? I'm hearing bad ammo to blame. Yeah, he bought some ammo.
Everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen the video already. Yes, we see. If you have to ask the answers, yes, everybody's seen it.
No, he might. I've been busy for the last 3 days, and I've been away from a lot of the podcasts and stuff, and I honestly haven't had a chance to watch a lot of content because I've been driving. But what it is on that video is he bought some ammo from a company that was no longer making ammo, and that ammo had been discontinued, and there were problems that had been mentioned about that ammo before. And I wonder if he researched this ammo before he decided to shoot it. Because if there's ammo that has a tendency to explode or had been double charged, especially 50 BMG, I don't know if I'd want to put that on camera, regardless of how many views it's going to get me. Because I don't know if my life is worth the $25 in AdSense revenue I'm going to generate from that video over its lifetime. So I'm not saying it was a bad choice, but yeah, I watched the 50 blow up on him, and apparently he had to stick his thumb in his neck or something to stop the bleeding. Yeah. Is that?
He was lucky as hell, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
and on that note, Travis, I will be right back. I'm gonna go get some coffee.
No problem, man. I keep drinking it in front of you, and that's just too much. That's too much temptation for you. Yeah, and so that's that's another reason why I'm very wary about buying ammunition from a company that's not currently in production. I would take ammunition from any of my friends that load it. I trust the work that they do, but I don't know if I'd want to just buy some surplus ammo. I would probably look it up before I buy it, unless I had to get it right then and there, and there was maybe a demand for it or something. It had to have been a double charge, that or maybe a case rupture. I'm not sure exactly what happened, and the problem is, litigation and liability. That company's not even around anymore. Good luck going after them to get anything out of it for your medical costs. So that's a bad deal.
What it appears to me when I saw that video and what his descriptions was, yeah, he definitely should have got on his knees and thank God Almighty that he was still alive.
So here's the question I got, though. Yeah,
what I think is he got a hold of some test loads, because there's no way with the case capacity and the amount of powder that 50 BMG case takes, there's no way he's going to double charge it.
Well, what if they just weren't paying attention? What if they filled it all the way up and just enough to seat the bullet? I mean, it could have been a charge and a quarter or a charge and a half. It doesn't necessarily have to be a double charge.
I still don't think that is going to be enough to do that. I think they either got the wrong powder, which very well may be, or he got a hold of what they call a proof load.
So
created that kind of pressure.
Snake Doctor 78 said, yeah, and it was a special machine gun chamber, the chamber on the gun that he was shooting.
Yeah, because that round, according to what I've heard, was made for testing a Madus.
Okay. M. Gabriel says, I have to say, you're not supposed to shoot sub-cal Sabo AP from muzzle-braked barrels.
Right.
Okay. I was wondering maybe if it wasn't a headspace issue. Maybe his headspace was
that could have been,
because after so many rounds, you have to have those 50 cal rifles. You have to have the barrels re-headspaced because they just pull themselves apart from just the pressure and the sheer force of shooting those things. And I fired one 5 times. I got to shoot one at a Hornady sponsored firearms day at my local range back about 5 or 6 years ago. And man, I could imagine that it's like a bomb going off every time you pull the trigger. I could imagine that thing going off, a foot away from your face. So
unreal.
Rich White says it was 50% over the pressure that the round should have been loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Good idea. Could have been tested with the wrong powder. Let's see. Frame by frame review shows flame from the middle of the barrel. Ooh, man. Okay. Scary stuff. Well, hopefully we don't have that problem with what we're about to talk about today. Which is 22 long rifles. And the reason why I keep going back to 22 LR, and maybe we'll have a 22 LR pistol discussion, I don't think we've done that yet, is because it's one of those calibers that it's starting to come back on the shelves. Many of us that are gun people have plenty of this or have some, so we can still keep going out to the range. And I think that's kind of the key, is it prevents you from not being able to go to the range, right? It'll help ensure that you can still keep shooting. So what better way to do so than to pick up a 22 caliber rifle, right? Let's see. One other comment from the YouTube side. I've been hearing other problems from other manufacturers because they have not as experienced folks working the lines trying to keep up production. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so about the 22 long rifle. If you don't have one, there's going to be some models that we're going to suggest you just go out and pick up. These are tried and true models. A lot of us have owned them. There's some pros and cons with each one that I wanted to discuss. And then also, we can get into some things like different types of ammo that we've tried out, just the utility behind the 22 LR rifle. Hey, Tony's with us this morning. Tony, how you doing, man? How's it going, brother? Tony's waking up. Are you awake, Tony?
I've been awake for hours.
You too, huh? You too. Yeah, no, I woke up at 4:30 Central Time this morning, so we should have started an hour sooner. So, yeah. All right. So when it comes to the 22, you've got a few different variations, a few different options. We've got your bolt action, we've got your semi-autos, we've got your pump actions, we've got your lever guns, and we've also got your brake actions. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some other things too. There are also caliber conversions you can get to shoot through brake action shotguns. And then we've also got standalone 22 rifles that are their own style, like the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 rifle. There's also like Chiappa makes one that looks like an AK-47. What's cool about a lot of these 22s is you can get almost full-size scale or maybe 2/3 scale size guns based off the actual firearms that you shoot to kind of keep you practicing on that platform, that manual of arms, and so on. So you've got a ton of options. For me, I've got experience with the Ruger 1022, the Savage Mark II F bolt action, the Anschutz precision rifles, the Anschutz 22 LRs, also a Winchester Model 52D, a great single shot, just single action, bolt action 22 rifle, the heavy barrel, and the Remington 522 Viper, which was rebranded as a 597. And I just recently bought, but I've not fired, the Rossi RS22, which is just like the Mossberg Flinkster 702, 502, 502. I can't remember exactly which one it is. So we'll be taking that out and doing some testing with iron sights and also with optics here pretty soon. And then also the Henrys behind me and the Henry on the table behind me. We're going to take those out and test them too. So I just want to run this around the room. If you were going to buy just one 22 long rifle, which one would you buy or which one have you purchased? What is your favorite? Single shot? We'll start off with you.
Well, they do make single shot Contender and Encore too, break action single shot 22. I like the 1022 Ruger and my little Henry lever action 22. Both of those rifles are very good. The Ruger is economical, it's accurate, it's light, it's fun to shoot. Mm-hmm. It's great for someone that's just starting out or starting a new youth out into the shooting world.
Well, yeah. It's good for everyone, young and old,
right?
Because it's just ding, 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 and you can just every time you pull the trigger, you hear steel ringing. So, yeah.
Also joining us, we got Foos joining us. Foos, how's it going this morning, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
What are you doing up at 7:23 on a Sunday morning?
7:23. So,
yeah,
I got up at 5:00 Central Time. Mm-hmm. Got on the road at 5:30 Central Time. I shot a South Carolina section this past weekend, and I stayed at a buddy of mine, Ballistics Expansion. If you might remember him, I don't know if you were on whenever.
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah. I stayed at his place last night and bullshit with him and his wife yesterday evening. He lives about an hour northeast of Atlanta. So then I had to drive down to Atlanta and around Atlanta, and now I'm heading up towards Chattanooga, and I'm gonna, I have a nice 12-hour drive in front of me. So that's why. So it's 8:24 my time.
Okay.
And Travis, I've returned with coffee.
There we go.
Here in a little bit, I'm going to transport myself back in time in an hour. So.
Yeah, you'll be gaining an hour of sleep. Basically, is what you're going to be doing. So.
Well, gaining an hour of drive time.
Mm-hmm. This is true. This is true.
The daylight. Yeah.
A few suggestions from the YouTube side. We've got M. Gabriel says you should get a Marlin 60 in the review also. Okay, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, doesn't Stan have one?
I think he had one at one point, but it is gone now at this point.
So
not one for me to review, but one that was actually in stock to purchase.
Stan, you got to get a Marlin Model 60s for Travis to review.
So another one that's good, that's a nice, light, cheap gun, Savage Model 64.
Okay, Model 64. Is that semi-auto?
Yes.
Well, I think it's a semi-auto version of the Mark II, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. There's a bolt action, and there's semi-auto.
I've got the 64F. It's a semi-auto. It's, it's great. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that the highest capacity magazines are 10 rounds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I had to buy like three extra magazines just so I could have some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, that is the downside of it. But as far as like a basic iron-sighted gun, it's awesome.
It's not bad. No. I love taking it out, and actually compared to like one of those custom Brownells 1022 receivers, apparently my Savage 64 is more reliable than a custom Brownells 1022.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I've sent one. I had one years and years and years ago, and I sent the nastiest of ammo down it, and it just gobbles the dang thing up.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, Savage makes some great rifles. So, Foos, what would you recommend as that 122 long rifle that a person should get if they could only get one? What would you buy?
I
would say within reason of a budget. Let's just say $500 and below, $600 and below.
Yeah. I'm not going to be like, some Olympic shot anything. No.
And shoots. And shoots.
No. So I honestly, I would say Ruger 1022, but one that was like mid 90s or older, like metal trigger guard, micro groove barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Get one of the old ones.
Okay.
Because fit and finish of them most likely be better. Yeah, you have to change springs or whatever, but the wear items aren't wear items back then because it's better. It was probably better steel than what they're making now.
Yeah, I bought a newer 1022 and I took it apart to clean it. It was a little disappointing under the hood, like it wasn't painted or finished under the receiver. It's just raw steel. It had some overspray on it from whatever black coating they put on the barrel. It wasn't even blue, the one that I bought.
Yeah.
Stock was okay. I mean, the internals were fine. I mean, you got good part support with the 1022. You have great customer service with the Ruger. If you get one, you're going to pay a little bit more than you would say for a Mark II F or the Savage, 64 you guys mentioned. Yeah.
So if you just want a bone stock, do that. But if you are like, I kind of want to have it and kind of build it up a bit, make it your own, Valcorsen or Valcorsen, something like that, go and look with them because they have 1022 out. You can make them like full on.
Oh yeah, whatever you want.
Race guns.
Mm-hmm.
You can, same with the Ruger Mark III, Mark IV series. You can, they have a lot of aftermarket stuff for that. And if you want to make it a race gun, 1022 is the action to have. So even finding an old beat up 1022 where the action's decent, get that and build it however you want. But I mean, you can't beat 1022. 1022 is an AK of the 22s.
Oh, I agree. The nice thing about the 1022s, you've got 24 different variants. There's all these special editions of it with iron sights, without iron sights, optics ready, Picatinny rail outfitted from the factory, a ton of different finishes, takedown models. I mean, it really is. There are so many different variations. You can find a flavor that you're going to like. That's one thing about it that I like about the 1022.
Something else about 1022 that most 22s you can't do is you can short stroke them.
Okay.
To where the bolt isn't open near as fast, or near as long. Yeah. So, a lot of people in USPSA or Steel Challenge that have those, they'll short stroke them because they'll try to pull off, consistent, 7.17 splits with them. So, and you start doing that with a normal bolt, and you may be having bolt bounce before you, as you're seeing the second, third one off.
Okay. Comments on the YouTube side. Rich White says, the only 22 rifle I have is the Henry Classic. It's a fun little rifle. We've also got E-Rock saying, I'm considering buying a Ruger Precision 22 LR. Yeah, that Ruger Precision 22 LR, it looks like a 2/3 scale Ruger Precision rifle. It's just a slightly shrunk down version of it, but still got a decent barrel on it, good action, lots of adjustability to make it fit. They're a little pricey. I don't know if I'd rather go maybe with a nice bolt action with a bull barrel on it and a good optic and maybe a more premium stock, but that's just me having shot the Ruger Precision rifle a couple times. But hey, you do you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in the 22 LR. That's a great rifle too.
What is that, a model 487 or something like that, a CZ? They make some
Oh,
really good.
is it? Did they make a 527? Yeah, CZ's
that's
also.
what it is. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, CZ 527. That's what it is.
Which comes in different calibers depending on whatever you want. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've held those in the store. Those are really nice. Yeah.
Or 22 version. I mean, you may be a little north. I mean, maybe right around 500 range.
I think they're $4.99, maybe $3, $4. It depends on where you go and what your prices are. We pay basically MSRP or less at the local gun stores here.
Well, of course, you have Stan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's and I try to get what I can online and order through him, and then locally at our Shield store too. They don't overcharge on gun prices, which is good. So I mean, I primarily go through Stan as much as I can.
Stan at SS Pawn, he's awesome.
Definitely, man. Heck yeah.
Shameless plug.
I don't know if you heard me talking earlier, but SS Pawn and I are going to be giving away a 1911 if and when I hit 40,000 subscribers. So. Awesome. He's donating one to the channel. What's that?
Model and make?
It's going to be an Ivor Johnson 45. Okay. I'm going to show a video on it later. It's going to be kind of a special edition that they make, which is really cool. So, but hey, man, it's it's a free 1911. So yeah. Oh, a couple things to talk about. Magazine. So Night Strike, you make a good point about that. One of the arguments for the Ruger 1022 or even the Rossi RS22 Mossberg Plinkster
is extended magazines.
Yeah, 25-round magazines. Those BX25s. Is that what those are called?
Yeah, well, from Ruger. The Rossi RS22 can use the Mossberg. Was it 715?
702.
There's 715. I think the Mossberg Plinkster 715. I think it is magazine, and it's 25 rounds, and 10 rounds or 25 rounds. 10 rounds. I'm almost thought about just going out and buying an RS22 just because of the factor that I want 25 rounds.
Hey, I got a coupon in the mail. Okay, I got $10 off this one right here, and then I also got what was it? I ended up getting this out the door for like $99. It was $127 is what they were asking for, and I got it there was like 10% off plus another 10% off, and so I ended up getting it for like $99, like $109 out the door with tax. And so for $127 for a semi-automatic, that's a Rossi RS22, which is identical to the Mossberg 702 Plinkster. It's the same thing. Different stock, but the action is the same. They're made on the same line, same factory. They're made in Brazil by a subsidiary of Rossi and Taurus. But no, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Magazines you can actually get. We would normally not recommend this, but I've read that they're fine. The Pro Mags, you can get two for I think $25. 2 10-rounders for $25, which I had my Savage Mark II F. The magazines for that were like $27 a piece, and they were just these little dinky 10-rounders. They were nothing fancy, but that was like the average price everywhere for those magazines. So consider magazines if you're going to get some maybe, and there's nothing wrong. You get whatever you want, but if you're going to buy something that maybe is you're going to get the Chiappa, their little mini AK-47 replica that shoots 22 LR. Can you get extra magazines for it if they even make them? A lot of the times they're plastic. Now, I also don't want to also not mention the GSG company that makes the MP5 clones. I know Ghost Tactical is a huge fan of those, and if you run the right ammo through them, they will run well. I recommend mini mags through any gun that's finicky with cycling. Mini mags will usually fix it. If it won't run CCI mini mags, then there's something wrong with the gun. That's all I'm going to say. Just my experience. Yeah, all across the board.
But one thing about 22s is if a gun won't run anything I buy, if you run the shorts or the Aguila, Hush ones or whatever.
Aguila? Yeah,
thank you. Those, if a gun doesn't run that, okay, whatever. But if it's standard velocity or any high velocity 22, if a 22 doesn't run that, get a different gun. Because the thing about 22 is you want to shoot and plank and have fun on the cheap. Well, sometimes mini mags, try to go out and buy mini mags now.
Well, I had mentioned earlier, we finally are getting them back in on the shelf after 6 months. They were $10.99 per 100-round box. And that was, that's amazing because at one point I was seeing them going for $70 a box on Gunbroker. Yeah. So yeah, if you can get them, or if you've got, I like Federal Auto Match. I've always had great luck with that ammo. It comes in the tan and black box. It's kind of a cream colored and black box, 300 rounds.
Like that. I've never had a gun. Well, Smith & Wesson M&P gun I have will run that, but I've never had a rifle or anything else that really run that ammo.
Okay, because the majority of what I've tested on the channel has been bolt action, so it's never been an issue. But I haven't tried it. We'll try it in the semi-auto. I'll take it out with like a bunch of different ammos, and we'll see what it runs, what it doesn't run, and do some accuracy testing with it this summer. So
like the ammo that I usually stock up in is the Remington, a bucket of bullet type thing.
Golden bullets, aren't they called golden bullets? Is that okay?
Yeah, golden bullets. Just because it's fairly consistent ammo. It's not great. It's not cheap. It's decent.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it goes bang. And just the handiness of just grabbing a pail and going is cool. So I stock up in that. So if a gun doesn't run that stuff, I don't.
Well, and some of them, like I said, like those GSGs can be a little more finicky just because they might even say you need to run high velocity ammo through this firearm for it to function. That is a possibility just because of the design, just because of what their home market ammo might be like. They might not have crappier ammo.
So, what you could do that so that there's a spring that's going to keep that bolt closed. The reason you need high velocity is if it needs to overcome the weight of the bolt and the weight of that spring in order for it to reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
You could always do, if it says, hey, I need absolute high velocity, go out and get a different recoil spring for that gun and clip a couple coils off to make that shorter. So that spring will then become a little bit lighter so you can run a little bit lower velocity so it takes less energy, less back pressure to open and cycle that bolt.
And again, that's another argument to go with a 22 long rifle that has good aftermarket support. So you have access to springs and pins and parts. On eBay, you can practically buy a rebuild kit for your 1022 if you wanted to. There's a ton of support for aftermarket triggers and springs, and you can basically rebuild it up from the ground, and stocks, by the way, too.
If you have any 1022 action, like just the shell, no bolt, no nothing, just the receiver, you could go out to these sites and build it however you want and have one shipping cost because the aftermarket support is so great for it.
Mm-hmm. On the higher end, E-Rock is out there. He's saying 22 long rifle CZ 452 Ultra Lux. He goes, I heard those are really accurate as well. And you kind of got to decide when you go to buy one, do you want just kind of an inexpensive beater that you can teach the kid to shoot on, or do you want something a little more precision based that's going to challenge you more as a shooter, that's going to bring you a little more enjoyment, just to see what you can do for how tight of a group you can run. So you got that out. Now, again, the idea is behind getting the 22 long rifle. If you don't have one, or why have one, it's wonderful for utility, just as an all-around gun. You could use it, wouldn't recommend it, but you could use it for self-defense. You could use it for varmint hunting. You could use it for squirrel hunting. You could use it for small game, right? It's perfect for that. You've got a lot of different types of ammo that it may or may not run. Standard, subsonic, 22 short, depending on what the gun is rated for. There's also 22 shot shell ammo that I don't know if you're supposed to run that through the rifles, but probably not. Probably more through like the handguns, like as a snake gun. I know CCI makes 22 shot shells that you can buy.
Yeah.
Don't forget, for me, my very earliest memory of shooting a firearm ever was at summer camp in like 2nd or 3rd grade. We had guns in the house, but we didn't go out and go shooting. They were for self-defense. They were for protection. I didn't grow up in a hunting family, but we did have firearms in the house. We were Pro 2A. But we did, when I went to summer camp, my earliest memory was a little single shot bolt action 22 LR. After that, man, I was just hooked. I had so much fun with it. I did shoot on the UNL rifle team for 2 years. We used Anschutz, and then we also used Winchester Model 52Ds, which were great rifles. Those are expensive. Those are $700 or $800 if you can find one. The one that I shot had a heavy barrel on it, and it had the peep sights on it that you would use for the target shooting that we did. And so, just the utility behind it, and then also just to build basic marksman skills. We've had this argument before. Do you start your kid off on, say, a 10-22 with iron sights, or do you just put them right on an AR right from the start? Let's just not argue about not having ammo. If you want to teach your kid to shoot, what would be the better route to go? I learned the basics of marksmanship and shooting with a single shot with iron sights, which forced me to be patient. I didn't just fire through. We only got like 12 rounds at a time at summer camp, and you can only use like 25 rounds max. We can only do that once a day. So I kept going back every day to shoot. And I took my time. I was like one shot per minute. I really took my time with it. And that's what really got me hooked on that, just the basics, just that excitement of shooting the gun. That's a great way to get somebody into it. The recoil is light, especially if you got somebody who's recoil sensitive or sound sensitive. They're going to be loud. Don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as loud as some of the other calibers of rifle that are out there. But I just think just the all-around application of utility of a good 22 long rifle is really hard to argue with.
So I have a couple different thoughts. If it's a child that likes to always fiddle with stuff, get them a bolt action so that bolt action has something to fiddle with. If they are a more of a instant gratification type person, then get them a semi-auto, because you want to expand that curiosity of what they already have. True.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be up to the individual kid. For let's say, a young adult, 13, 14, 15, or an adult, I would start off with a semi-auto. Just because at that age, I think that a bolt action seems almost too cumbersome, because you're trying to teach them how to, operate the firearm, not, hey, here's something new for your curiosity. Mm-hmm. It's a different thought of using their age, what their maturity is on how you introduce them to firearms.
All I'm saying is, as a kid, I would be a lot less patient with a semi-auto than I was with that bolt action that, I was shooting when I was 10 years old or 9 years old or whatever I was, yeah.
And that's different. So that's why I said young adult, 13, 14, if you would have went and your first experience was, 13, 14, 15, it probably would have been different, because you would know patience a little bit more and stuff like that, versus not 9 or 10, you're, solving your curiosities.
Yeah, kind of fidgety when you're little, getting into everything. Go ahead. Okay.
That was it for me.
Okay, from the YouTube side, Defense Dad saying, taught the kiddo on my grandpa's Ruger Mark I first, and then her 1022. Rich White says, if noise is an issue, you could start them with 22 short. Most 22 rifles and revolvers will shoot that, and it'll be quieter. It should tell you on the barrel. It should be stamped to tell you if it's rated for 22 long or 22 short, just to let you know. And then you can always go, don't forget, it's not in the discussion today, but there's always the 22 Magnum route. If you want to go with something with even more utility and more application, there's a lot of 22 mag rifles out there that you can choose from also.
And if a kid is going to be noise sensitive, you know about this, you can get 22 suppressors for $100 plus tax stamp. So you're gonna, sub 400 easy. You could be walking out with a suppressor and really have fun with your child that is noise sensitive. And then you can screw that and put it on your pistol. You can do whatever you want with that, but it could be a way to help a noise sensitive person if you are worried about that. And
the subsonic ammo is starting to show up on the shelves now too, so that's not such an issue. I've always been able to find that. That's not the hot seller, the subsonic ammo. But now it's starting to come back on the shelves. You shouldn't have issues finding it if you decide to go the suppressor route.
Well, even if it is supersonic, because the sound is a different sound. It's not you don't hear the explosion and the concussion of the round going off. You would hear all you'd hear is a sonic boom of the bullet going down range, if the bullet even makes it. Because coming out of a pistol, say you would start teaching them on a pistol. 22 long rifle isn't breaking the sound barrier. It's still subsonic, even with the 36 green stuff.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Dead Horse says your kid will be in college by the time your stamp comes through. Right now. Oh, come on, Dead Horse. We're only talking about 2 years here.
hey, Travis and I don't have kids, so by the time we have the kid, our suppressor should be around.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Blue Steel 44 has a question that I can't answer, so you guys on the panel maybe can answer this one for me. 22 long and 22 long rifle are different. Do they even make 22 long anymore?
Yes,
I haven't seen any.
Very hard find.
Yeah, I just picked up a box of 22 short here not too awfully long ago, It's fairly expensive, $9 a box, but those are still around apparently. Because I hadn't seen them for quite a while. That's why I picked that one box up.
Yeah, we'd have to check like the CCI or the Hornady catalog or somebody to see if they even make it. Yeah.
So, quick question: if it shoots a 22 long rifle, that means they'll shoot a 22 long and a 22 short. Is that a correct assumption? Like if it's a bolt action.
Most
semi-autos will not run shorts.
Right. That's why I said talking about bolt action, because I know semi-auto, because of the overall length is so much shorter in a short. I know it wouldn't run that. And same with longs. It may not do it just because of the not having enough oomph to work the action. But in a bolt action, I think that other than lever guns, in Henry's, that may not run it because it may be really just too short. But any of your bolt actions, I think you could run any of the three if it's a long rifle.
Every lever gun I've ever had would run all of them.
Oh, that's good. It's good to know.
So here's what we're talking about. Is this what you guys mean? 22 long versus 22 LR, and then you go up to 22 Winchester Magnum or 22 Mag. So this stuff right here, 22 long.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually shorter than 22 LR.
Yes.
But it's longer than 22 short.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's really,
anyways, people are kind of curious.
In today's market, it's pointless. It really is, because shorts have a different reason for being than long rifle, because they're quieter. You can use them in your house if you need to kill a rat or something.
Mm.
And
what does a 22 short sound like in the house? It's like a firecracker going off. Does it leave your ears kind of hurt the ears? What's that?
I mean, go ahead.
Out of a rifle, it sounds like a pellet gun going off.
Oh, okay.
Is it still hearing safe out of a rifle?
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're talking 85 decibels is supposed to be the safe limit for noise, right? Is that anything over 85 decibels, you're supposed to have hearing protection?
Something around that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It ain't as loud as a goddamn dog barking in the backyard.
I mean, if the dog, I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say, that FBI may take offense to it.
So M. Gabriel says CCI still makes 22 long. Dead Horse says, yeah, all the other European countries, they still make long and shorts. Just not common here in the USA, but over there it is common. Right. Well, Defense Dad said they did have some 22 long recently. They had a sign up that told people it was not 22 LR because people thought that that it might have been 22 long rifle. They're just going to grab the box and walk out with it, not realizing it's not the same stuff. So,
yep. Well, they need signs for a 9mm versus 9mm Mac and 357, 357 SIG, and like it's sad that people don't know what their firearms shoot.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it comes to ammo, you see something, you think that's it. Because I remember they had 9x21. What do we call that? 9mm. Was it Lungo or something like that? The 9x21. They had that on the shelves. I think they probably still have it. Largo. Yeah, Lungo. That's like an espresso term. But anyway, they had the 9mm Largo in stock, and they had a sign up there that said, "This is not 9mm Luger. Okay, don't buy it. It's not 9x19." So they also do that for 9x18 Makarov too. They have to put the signs up because people just don't pay attention.
Now,
unfortunately,
the reason I said that is I've seen people buy the Makarov thinking it was 9mm.
Yeah.
For their guns, and I was just happened to be looking for 9 Some guy, I'm like, oh, you have a Makarov or a CZ? He's like, no, I have a Glock. I'm like, you have the wrong ammo.
Yeah, they've asked me the two stores I bought my Makarov ammo at both times before I checked it. Like, okay, this is not 9mm Luger. You know that, right? This is not for your standard 9mm handgun. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I got a Makarov pistol. And they're like, okay, just double checking. So.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Because, like, I don't know of any business out there that will return or refund on ammo. So you have it.
Well, you just put it up for sale online and you can sell it in 5 minutes. I mean, just for the most part, there's people buying anything. You'll find somebody that'll buy that Largo
True.
or just mention it and somebody's like, yeah, I need some. I've got a gun that shoots it, We had a couple comments from the YouTube side. Thomas Reese says, I shoot my Beretta Minx without Ear Pro. The Minx is a little mini pistol chambered in 22 short, if I'm not mistaken. Mike says, don't forget 22 shot shells. Yeah, we mentioned them earlier. It's like a snake gun. In fact, I think, is it Henry? Henry makes a snake gun that's designed to shoot 22 shot shells. I think it doesn't have any rifling in the barrel. I could be totally wrong here.
Yeah.
But I think they call it the snake gun. Somebody makes one called the snake gun. You can shoot those through the little Derringer if you had one. You could shoot it through, probably, I would imagine you could shoot it through a Rough Rider. I don't know, 22 shot shells. Do you guys think so or not?
You could, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to mess up the rifling inside the barrel?
No, because it's lead shot. It's just like it's lead. I mean, the issue with having rifling in your barrel is you'll actually start to spin the projectiles, but as soon as you no longer have that rifling as it exits your barrel, that means whatever the last trajectory those BBs are on are going to keep going straight on that trajectory. They're not going to go straight out of your gun, so the spread is going to be a lot worse. You know how in a shotgun they're like, oh, it spreads about, what is it, like an inch a foot or something like that? Whereas this, you'll spread quite a bit more because that rifling is starting to spin or project.
It's going to throw stuff all over the place, basically. Yeah.
Centrifugal force just blows the pattern to nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why it's a snake gun. So you get like within inches of a snake or something like that, maybe less than a foot, and your just shot goes everywhere, so you'll hit it. Type thing.
A couple comments here. We've got Tacos and French Fries says, my local gun shop was out of almost all ammo except for ammo for my Makarov. Yeah, that was the same situation here. I ended up paying, I think, about $20 for a box of Cellular and Below for 9mm Makarov, which is about what I was paying before.
Yeah.
Rich White says, I once worked with a guy who bought a European 380. It was marked 9mm Browning, and he thought it was 9x19. Thank God he asked me about it before he bought ammo for it.
Well, it wouldn't have chambered.
Okay.
Because because the head spacing on 9 mils or any of those pistols are off the front of the case, and that case 9x19 is 2 millimeters longer than 9x18 or 9x17 because that's what a 380 is, 9x17.
Defense Test says, you guys are masochists for being up this early on a Sunday. I got more people watching right now than I get on a Saturday, and I've been doing the Saturday show for years, with the exception of last year where I did a Monday night show or whatever, or Monday evening show. Let's see. So M. Gabriel says, what's up?
You know why everyone's watching you now?
Because they don't want to go to church?
Well, no. I don't know. They always get up for Gary.
Yep.
Gary's 4-hour chat. So they're like, well, I'm already up. Might as well.
Also go and listen to Travis and see what he has to spew out this morning, right? Yeah. M. Gabriel says, isn't 9mm Kurz actually 380? I have no idea. You guys tell me. 9mm Kurz?
Yeah.
It is. It is the same thing as 380?
It is.
Okay. There you go.
380 ACP, 9 Kurtz, and was it 6.5 Browning?
Yeah.
6.5 Browning, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or 7. No, it's 7.65 Browning. Yeah, something like that.
One side note about that, you want to make sure that if you do try to interchange that stuff, some of that ammunition was made for a machine gun, not pistols. You get different chamber pressures.
Okay. Let's see here. Rich White says it would have chambered it, like you had mentioned before, Foos, but he would have wasted money on the wrong ammo, especially if you had bought like a case or something. You buy like $600. You could flip it and sell it in today's market with no issues, but it would still be nice not to worry about that. So I agree with Rich on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but in today's market, yes. But what if someone, 5 years from now listens to this? Today's market then may not be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if they'd have sat on it for 5 years, they could have retired on the profit.
This is true. All right, so back to the discussion on the 22 long rifles. Don't forget, we've also got cylinder conversions, which I don't have any experience with, but they're basically drop-in MIDI chambers that you would put like in a break-action shotgun, and you can run different calibers through those. And so you've got an option if you want to get one of those chambered in 22 LR, you can convert your gun, your shotgun, whatever you're running that caliber conversion through to 22 LR. So you have that as an option. The other one, and Defense Dad is out there listening right now, he's got the CMMG 22LR conversion kit for the AR-15, which we've talked about before. It runs about $175 to $200, and supposedly those run really well. They have like their own little mini action in the chamber itself that runs off of that conversion kit, so it's pretty easy to use. Yeah,
I had one of those. It ran pretty well. I ended up buying a dedicated upper barrel and putting that to a normal upper and onto a normal lower.
Okay.
So yeah, you could go two ways. You could have dedicated only, or you could run the conversion kit. The issue with conversion kits is usually you're at a 1 7 inch or 1 8, maybe 1 9 barrel twist.
Yeah.
So after about 50 yards, that you're spinning the bullet too fast. So it stabilizes out to a short distance. When you start going longer, it becomes more and more inaccurate. You really need a 1 in 12, 1 in 14 twist for that light.
Well, I mean, it's going to get you the practice, at least on the same firearm that you like to shoot, without having to burn through, say, a larger caliber of ammo. But I hear you. I don't know if I'd want to use it for long distance shooting or even like a hunting application. I'd probably stick more of a rifle, semi-auto rifle or bolt action rifle, long gun.
Yeah. But. So what I did is I got a dedicated 22 barrel, and I stuck it in there. So there's no gas port, there's no gas, anything in it. So it just runs.
Yeah.
So that is one way, and then you can set it up just like any other one, and you have a dedicated 22 rifle. And I did that, and I ended up buying another barrel and stuff like that. So if I need to, within 20, 30 minutes, I can swap that back into a 223 5.56 barrel or a rifle. So that's another way to go if you want to do that, but have a little bit more accuracy or whatever. Just because if you run these conversions, one thing you need to do is after you run the conversions, you need to run a round or two of 223 5.56 through it to clear out that gas port and chamber and everything, because you're going to have carbon buildup and all
lead
that
fouling starting to happen too inside the barrel. Yeah.
Yes, and that's
okay.
And then you're blowing all that dust right back in your face, because that's going to come through that the gas tube right back into your action. So that's one reason I went with a dedicated barrel.
Okay. M. Gabriel says that CMMG makes dedicated 22 LR barrels, so that's always an option. Or like I said, you can always go with like an M&P, which is an M&P 22, which is going to cost you almost as much as an AR-15 these days, a standard AR-15 5.56. But it's still, a nice, purpose-built option, especially if you're going to do a lot of the 22 LR shooting yourself. M. Gabriel also says running 22 LR in your conversion could clog your gas system.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know. Defense Data, we'll have to ask him. I know he's put a few rounds through his AR-15 with it, not had any issues. But like you said, it would not hurt to just put a couple rounds of 5.56 downrange before you go home. Drop your original bolt carrier group back in and
absolutely,
fire it.
Yeah. Like if you go through, 4, 5, 6,000 rounds of 22 between sending a rifle round through it, you are gonna plug it up. But if you're out in the range shooting 3, 4, 500, maybe even 1,000 rounds, put 2 or 3 223s through it, it's gonna blow all that crap out. Yeah. You'll be good. But of course, it's gonna blow all that stuff back into your action. So you got to make sure you clean your action really well. But of course, 22 long rifles dirty anyway. You should really be taking care of your rifle with that. I clean my 22 pistols and rifles a lot more, and I keep them up a lot more than anything else because they are finicky.
Yeah, anything I've ever had, I've noticed after a couple hundred rounds, you can start to have some jamming issues, some feeding issues, and things like that. You just start to get a muck buildup of like shaved brass and powder and carbon and all that fun stuff. So it's definitely quick little correction to make, I guess, from the YouTube side. We had said I thought 765 Browning was 32 auto. So 765 Browning is 32 ACP. I don't know. Going back to what was mentioned about the 765 Browning before. So.
Yeah, 765 Browning, yeah.
Okay.
It's 32 ACP. Oh, it's 30. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you are right. That's 32 ACP. My apologies. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. We're still waking up here on this side. We just want to make sure we don't give the wrong advice. But no breakfast for you, Foos. No breakfast for you. So here's something else I want to go through.
I'm gonna have to stop and get rid of it then.
All right. Bring it over here. I'll take it. Bring it over here. What would be some of the disadvantages of buying a Ruger 1022 versus anything else out there? What do you guys not like about the 1022? Because we're talking it up. It's wonderful. It's great. There's lots of parts out there for you. There's different magazine options. What are some of the disadvantages of the 1022? I mean, it is a little more expensive than the competitors. Because you can get a Marlin semi-auto for $100 less than a 1022. But what would be some of the, what do you guys not like about the 1022?
God awful fit.
The newer ones or what?
Current build quality.
Okay. That's what scares me about Ruger when they start making the 336s, when they start reproducing the Marlins. Are they going to rush them out? Are they just going to be kind of cobbled together? Are they going to have that quality? I mean, even the Marlins were fine. The last 336s that were made in the last 10 years were fine, but compared to one made 30 years ago, I mean, it just doesn't, that handcrafted feel is just not there. And that's just because of how they had to produce them so quickly when Marlin got bought out by Remington and whoever it was that bought them. So, Tony, when you say the fit, are you talking about older ones you noticed this also? They've just always had issues or what?
The guns are like they're built for a kid.
So
this is way back.
You mean the length of pull and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah, but you can get aftermarket stocks.
Yeah, but nobody wants to drop an extra $200 into their gun either if they don't have to.
I ain't buying a gun that I have to buy new parts for just to use.
Right.
Well, okay, here's a question, though. Was the 1022 intended for young people when it was first introduced, however many years ago? Was it made to be a junior-sized rifle, like an entry-level intro rifle? So us grown men wanting to take one out, we're like, God, this thing is just tiny,
I think it was made that way on purpose to fit as wide an audience as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marlin didn't have that particular issue. Their guns are full size.
Yeah.
And I think Savage 64s are full size, at least for the length.
They are. They've got a longer barrel, longer stock. And like the Mark II series, it feels like a full-size rifle. They're pretty good size. And you get a Mark II with a bull barrel on it, it's got some weight to it. So, yeah, there's if you don't, that'd be okay. So that's one thing I never thought about. If you got longer arms or you're bigger stature person, you're not going to have a little kid shooting this thing. It might feel just a little too compact for you to comfortably shoot a lot or even want to take out hunting. Yeah.
But again, there's our aftermarket sport to correct all that. So
yeah, you can go over to Boyd Stocks or you can go over to Etsy and get a stock for it if you want to, Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me, it's the build qualities, the fit and finish of the new rifles.
Okay.
They just
you have to realize that the last Ruger that I owned would have been about 1982. And there wasn't all this crap you could buy for them then.
Okay. Squibleth is joining us. Squibby, what's going on? You want to get in on the discussion of the 22 LR rifle? Anything you want to contribute to the conversation?
I mean, a lot of people start off on them. The very first gun I ever shot was a 22. It's got a lot of functions. I think for some people, they use it to replace something else that they already have. And if that's what you want to do, that's what I wouldn't. But in other cases, I think its versatility there's more to it than it's just inexpensive normally to shoot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree totally. Yeah. Yeah, we mentioned about the different applications on it before. Now, Dead Horse is saying one of the disadvantages of the 1022, he goes, after putting $1,000 into it with a Shylin or Whistle Pig barrel and stock and trigger, you have the same accuracy as an off-the-shelf Savage bolt action.
There you go, Dead Horse.
Advantage is it's probably one of the best guns to get in to learn how to work on guns and upgrade and modify. So that's true too. And there's a lot of support for whatever you want to do to it. Now I will say this: if you get yourself, go ahead, guys, go ahead.
And let's say you buy a 1022, put $1,000 worth of whatever into it, you're still at the end. You're still gonna have a $700 gun, because like any improvements, if it's internal improvements, that money's gone. But if it's internal and external, and you increase the performance of it, you will get some of that money back if you decide to sell it down the road, but not anywhere remotely close to what you're putting into it, unlike other firearms.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's got its positives and negatives. When you get, I've noticed this with the Savage Axis rifles, and then also the Mark II Fs that they still make. You can get them with or without their Accu trigger, the adjustable trigger. I would highly recommend, if you're going to get a bolt action Savage, get it with the adjustable trigger, the Accu trigger. Because the one that I had, the Mark II F that I had, just the weight of the trigger, and I don't believe it was adjustable. I had a Mark II F with iron sights on it. It was the cheapest one you could get at Walmart. It was like $115, $120. The trigger, it was when you were sitting there with it on the sled, when you pull back on the trigger, it would physically almost lift the gun up, and that really affected accuracy. So I would say go with one with the Accu trigger. It might be like $50 more, but go that route, because I don't believe the original Mark II Fs or even some of these other Savage models that we're talking about had adjustable triggers out of the factory. And especially if you're trying to go for precision to see what this thing can do, you put a nice optic on the top, that can be a disadvantage of it also. So that's something to keep in consideration. So yeah, again, the Mark II F, the Ruger 1022, if you can still get one, and there's still a lot of part support for it, the Remington 597, I don't know if it was still called the Viper or not, based off the Remington 522 Viper that came out a long time ago. I had one of those back in the late 90s, a 522 Viper. That was the first semi-automatic 22 that I ever bought, and it ran like a champ up until about maybe 150 or 200 rounds, and then it would start to have some misfeeding issues. And even then, it was only with Remington Golden Bullets. I didn't have that problem with other brands. But the 522 is a great one. For a while there, you could get them brand new for $200, and there's a lot of magazine support for those aftermarket mags that you can get also. And then the one that I'm excited to try out is the Rossi RS-22. Defense Dad also has one. It's got great iron sights on it. Again, it's the same thing as the Mossberg 702 Plinkster. It runs off the same assembly line, takes the same upgrades. I'm going to run it with iron sights, and then I'm going to pick up just an inexpensive optic for it. I've got some monster optics I could bolt on it, but I think it's just overkill. It's not even worth getting it dialed in. I'd rather put something a little bit lower power, smaller, lightweight up on the top of it instead of some of these.
You know what's a good sight for a Ruger 1022 or 1020 or a 22 as far as I'm concerned?
Okay, what's that?
That's a red dot. You're going to be right in your range with the red dot. It's quick. That dot doesn't cover, a 5-inch plate, 6-inch plate at 100 yards. That when I shoot on that little 1022 that I've got, geez, I have no trouble at all. I've got one on my Mark II that I pick off empty shotgun hulls and soda cans at 100 yards with.
Yeah, put a 2.5 MOA dot. Mm-hmm. So that'll be at 100 yards, 2.5-inch dot. Yep. Do that, and you're golden.
Would you guys agree with me though? If you want to harvest game, you might be better off putting just like a rimfire scope up on the top. Cool.
You can.
Yeah, I mean 3 to 9 by something, whatever you want to do, just so you can. And that's another option. But the red dot would definitely be fun. I think that would be really cool for
those little regular 22 scopes that you see on the shelves there quite often.
Especially if you're only going to go for say 100 yards or less, or you're going to be going through brush. You don't want to, huge magnification factor on that scope when you take it out. Plus, they're inexpensive. I mean, you can get a decent scope for $40 these days. A nice Tasco or Bushnell.
You do want to get as big a one as will go on the gun in that line, like 32 millimeter, because you want it to gather light, especially if you're going to be in the timber.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah, if you're actually going to take it out. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. You could get a Swarovski or a Steiner rimfire scope if you want to spend that kind of money, or you can get a
if you've got a fat wallet.
Or you can get yourself a nice Vortex, get a nice entry level one. It's whatever you want to spend. I mean, that's the thing with guns anymore. You can spend whatever you want on something.
I use Simmons 22 mag, 3.9 by 32.
So let me ask you guys a question then. All right, since we're just talking about all these different models and stuff, advantages, disadvantages of, say, the Henry Golden Boy sitting behind me or the Henry Pump. Aside from that buy-in price, what do you guys think? What is the allure of something like this behind me versus something like that? What is it that makes Lever 22 so awesome? Yeah.
Somebody wants to be Chuck Connors on the cheap.
The fact that you can run shorts.
Okay. True. Possibility. Yep.
And like what I said earlier about, the bolt action versus semi-autos with children, if you have someone that likes to do things, having a bolt action and having that lever where you have to pull the trigger, then do an action between pulling the trigger again, that could be a benefit. And with that, I am going to go MIA for a bit.
Okay. No problem, man.
I ain't letting the kids touch my Browning BL-22.
Here we go.
Too much money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. Dead Horse says the best sighting system for a beginner, hands down, is a peep sight. Most kids and beginners do not take the correct eye relief and suffer from parallax issues. Yeah, that was what I started. Well, I had just an iron sights on the first time I ever fired, but then we used the peep sights on the rifle team with UNL on our Anschutz rifles and our Winchester 52D. M. Gabriel says, does anyone have any SW41 experience? SW41, Gabriel, you're going to have to help us out here. Are we talking about an optic?
I'll tell you, the best damned gun I ever seen start a kid on was one of those Keystone Crickets.
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Now let's talk about the little junior models here for a little bit. Okay, so you've got the Cricket, and then Savage makes one also. What is the Savage called?
A lot of trouble with that thing.
The Crickets have issues?
Savage.
Oh, the Savage? What was it called? Like the Badger? What was that one called?
I can't remember.
I can't either.
They make one in 22 LR. It's just they usually have them right next to the Cricket. So they do make an Axis XP Youth. I understand that, but I thought there was one that.
So I'm not fond of the single shot bolt action 22s.
Yeah,
and I understand the reasoning behind it. You've got a kid. You only want them one round at a time because this, that. Okay, the semi-autos that are out there, the pumps, the levers, the bolts that can carry more than one round of ammo at a time, they're not machine guns, people. They can pull the trigger down and hold the trigger down and nothing happens. For what these things cost, if these things were like $50, I could say, yeah. But for what they cost, you can buy a 10-22. Mm-hmm. Well, but I don't want them shooting more than one round at a then put one in the mag. It's as simple as that.
Well, we had talked about that. We had the discussion before you got here. We said, would you want to start a kid off on the semi-auto, the bolt action? I learned on a single shot 22, and it forced me to be patient because I only got so many rounds per day at summer camp when I was shooting it. And so, I wanted to really enjoy it. So I did like 1 round per minute. I made sure I really had a perfect sight before I pulled the trigger, Yeah.
Well, that really comes down to parenting, I think, in my opinion, as far as if you're teaching your kid, slow and steady and accurate and all this other. But the thing is, when they get to that point, now they can pull the trigger as fast as they want if they're at a range where they can do that. And you didn't have to buy 2 guns. And sometimes you make, well, why wouldn't you want as many guns? Because you're never going to use it. You're going to take that Cricket and throw it in the back of the safe, and you're never going to see it again. Maybe when you have a grandkid, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of it. Like I said, if it was like $50, yeah.
That's where you're missing out because they are about as fun to shoot as any gun out there, and they cost $120.
Yeah, and the 10-22 is $150. So. Or at least it used to be.
Yeah, I think there were more that you could have got them. I think I paid I think I did pay $149 for mine like 3 or 4 years ago. Typically around $200, but I mean within $50. Now what about this one, guys? What about the Savage Rascal? Can we find a happy medium? This is larger than the Cricket, more expensive than the Cricket, but you have left-hand options, you have tactical options, you have different stocks you can go with, wood, synthetic, pink. They've got heavy barrel versions, target editions. You've got tactical models.
Do they have one with a detachable box magazine?
These no, because I think these may just be single shot also.
Yeah,
this particular model. So, but you can get a youth XP or a youth size 64 or Mark II F. You know, if you want to go that route, that has a box mag.
If I want to shoot one round at a time with no magazine at all, I'll pull up my Martini Henry.
There you go. But I mean, look at this. So if I was 6 or 7 years old, my dad gave me one of these, dude, I'd be like, G.I. Joe, man. Look at this. Seriously, I'd be shooting that thing all day. Look at threaded for a suppressor, very cool tactical look. You know, that to me when I was a little kid, that would just be awesome.
I'm just saying, if you're putting the money into it, you might as well get them something where, all right, now you can have a full mat. You know, a year later, 2 years later, whatever is comfort. My kids, they go from, you know, something basic to something more advanced pretty quick. I haven't had an issue. Other people are different. I get that. And if this is what you buy, this is your choice. Yeah. For me, my reason is you could do the same thing by just loading one round in the mag, and then when they're more comfortable or you're more comfortable with it, boom, they're ready to go.
And like I said, you know, you get yourself, here's a 64F left-handed model, MSRP of $159. I mean, you know, that's, you know, you can get that in a bolt or a semi-auto with a magazine, a 64F right-handed. And by the way, Savage, I mean, the cool thing about Savage is they offer these left-hand models too. I think that's important because, you know, you might have a left-handed kid and this is just going to be easier for them to use. Marlin did some left-hand models also, but I think Savage has got a much better selection overall. So that'd be one reason why I'd go Savage if I was going to buy one, if I wasn't going to go 1022. So. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Oh, and then like I said, the Rossi RS-22. I want to test that out hopefully in a week or so. So
if you want real accuracy out of a cheap gun, go Marlin.
Yeah.
Which one, Tony?
Well, Marlins are going to be going up in price now, though, aren't they? Because they're basically aren't they stop production of the 22 LRs? I mean, it's done, right?
That I don't know. I don't know what Ruger's going to do.
Well, I would imagine they're just going to bring over the lever guns. Well, I mean, they could still do. I don't. Does Ruger even do? No, at 1022, obviously. Yeah, it's a dumb question, but I don't know if Ruger does like a. Yeah, they've got a few bolt 22 rimfires, but. I don't know. It's interesting to see because I'm worried that the Marlins are going to go up in price. You know.
I think prices online. Marlin has about the best barrel out there.
Yeah.
Why I got like
a lot of them are using those Bagara barrels now, and Bagara is a very good barrel, very good one.
So I'm looking over on Gunbroker, and Marlin 60 is bidding at $135 with 3 days left. I mean, Gunbroker is a bad place to look, but if you just want to check prices real quick, here's a new in box Marlin Model 60 22 LR semi-auto, current bid $330. A super nice JM Marlin Model 60 22 LR, $200 starting bid. So you could probably get one for $300 or $350 if you just want to get one good one. If you don't want to go the Ruger 1022 route. So,
well, you know, there was like 11 plus million of those things made, Model 60. So they're not super scarce.
No, but the prices on them, just the natural demand from the company being out of business and not being able to get them anymore, or once the model stops production, then the prices just naturally start to go up on, especially these days. I mean, I look at what Marlin 336s are now selling for now that they're not in production anymore. People want that old school, especially if you get a pre-Freedom Group 336. I mean, we're talking, $700, $800, $900 now for one. So I bought mine for $550 about 4 years ago. And mine's a 1990, 1991 production model. I bought mine used. Now, like a big gun show like Wanamaker or Tulsa, you might be able to score one for 5 or 6. I don't know. Because, I mean, that's you want to go if you go to the larger gun shows. Now, a little bit about those cricket rifles. Since we're talking about those, we might have sparked a little bit of interest in people. Defense Dad said, depends on the age and size of the kid. My 8-year-old daughter tried a cricket, and it was already way too small. Give a 4-year-old a 1022 versus a cricket and see which one fits and works best. I mean, I think crickets are neat, but they are pretty tiny. They are really small, especially if you compare it to the Rascal. The Savage Rascal looks almost like a full-size rifle compared to the cricket. So that's something to keep in consideration also.
Oh, now, you got to realize that I bought it for my 6-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
and the grandsons. But hey.
Now, Squib, you do make a pretty good point, and we talked about this before when we were discussing, 22 long rifle versus starting off with like an AR-15. You said, Squib, the AR-15 and 5.56 NATO is a good starter for some kids, and they can upgrade it as they get older. So
it depends on your kid,
Yeah.
your family, your state laws, your this, your that. But for the base model price on some of these things, or how you start your kids off, you can hand them this, and then in a year it's going to go gather dust until they have kids. Or you can hand them this, and if they want to put the money into it or change it or do this, if they got a 1022 to start off with and they're doing good with it, and every year for their birthday you bought them one of these accessories, and by the time they were 16 they had the $1,000 1022, they wouldn't be a grown man going, I just put $1,000 into a 1022. You know what I mean?
My dad put $1,000 into my rifle. Yeah. Here we go. So let's just see what's out there. I want to check the Henry website because they've got a couple new models. We saw this one a couple weeks ago.
I've been wanting to get one of their lever actions in 22, but something a little bit nicer, something where it's like, dang, you paid that much for a. I was thinking the Silver Boy actually, but
really,
yeah, it's just like, you paid that much for a 22.
Yeah, but 1022s will grow with you if you want to like get into the shooting sports. There's nothing better than a 1022 as with Steel Challenge. You could like that. There's people with like world records based on 1022 actions. That's the thing about 1022s.
You see that price? I mean, I'm throwing my money. No, don't get me wrong. Okay, lifetime warranty, well-built gun, looks really good. Probably
Octagon
shoots
barrel.
fantastic. Yeah, shoots fantastic. But it's like you spent that much. Even I would laugh at myself.
I'm with you, Squib, because I bought a Browning BL-22 Deluxe, or Grade 2, they call it. And I spent a lot.
But like I said, everybody's situation is different. The reason I'm talking about why this is maybe somebody else is in a similar situation or somebody else has made the same choice. If you made a different choice, you're doing something different. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're into shooting. You're teaching your kids something that is good. Not that they're necessarily going to turn into a competitive shooter. Not everybody gets into this so they can do that or what have you. Right. It's almost like learning how to change a tire. You should really know firearm safety.
True.
Do they make this in color case hardened? Somebody mentioned that over on the YouTube side.
Yeah.
Do they make a Henry lever gun in color case hardened?
Dude, they've got everything you can think of. The sky's the limit.
That's nice.
It's really whatever's on your credit card is what you can afford.
Yeah.
So
hey, Squib.
I look at pricing probably different than most people. Like, I don't care if a gun is $100 or $1,000. If let's say I buy a $1,000 gun, and 2 years down the road, would that $900 difference matter at that point? Most likely not, with how life is. So, and I look at it as, did I get that additional $900 enjoyment of having one gun over the other gun? So I look at pricing of a firearm as a non-factor, and it could be because I am single. I don't have kids. I don't have the expenses that other people have. I look at pricing of stuff different than what most people do. I have no problem spending for more money for a gun I want that I know I'll get more enjoyment out over the lifetime of me owning that product.
So I know that we're trying to focus on 22 LR and 22 long rifles. Okay, good question from M. Gabriel, because somebody might be on the fence looking at these models. Like, you're over there at the Henry website, you've got multiple chamber offerings, 17 HMR or 22 WMR. What do you guys think?
Too much money.
Yeah, 17 HMR. There's more companies making it now, and right now that's At least around here, that's the only thing on the shelf.
Oh, I see. That was one of the last of the calibers to disappear. First, it was the 30-30, and then the 243, and then the 17 HMR. Although they've had that. They've also had 22 mag on the shelves out here for quite a while. But
that's WMR.
It's one of those ones where when you bought it, everybody was going, "You paid how much?" But now you're going, "I can get ammo."
True.
But other than that, though, I've shot one. I thought it was okay, but I don't know.
17.
If you were doing something specific with it, maybe.
I have a cousin that has one, and he uses it specifically for just varmint on the acreage that they own. So that's what he does with it. I mean, I think it's perfect for that kind of an application. Prairie dogs.
Quick question: 17 HMR, is that a rim or center fired?
Rim.
Okay.
Rim fire. And there's 17 HMR. I've got one on the Savage. And that thing is a tack driver.
It's a very fast round. It's an insanely fast round. Yeah.
You're talking 2,800 feet per second for a little, 30 grain bullet, I think it is. And CCI is making the TNT version of that ammunition. And that stuff is just volatile on a varmint.
And see, that's what I meant about specific use. At first, when these things were coming out, everybody wanted to get it because it's a new cool thing. Then they found out that hardly anybody made ammo for it. And then the ammo is expensive. It's kind of like a lot of people want to run out and go, "Hey, look, I got the cool new..." And there's nothing wrong with that. If people didn't do it, the price of the guns wouldn't come down later. More companies wouldn't make ammo for it, right? It's like buying the latest and greatest TV or whatever. But the thing is, at that time, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, but I just don't think I'd pay this sort of money. Since things have changed, if I had that need for that velocity in a rimfire, I might. But, going back to the whole ammo shortage, I mean, last time we had an ammo shortage, everybody who had a 357 SIG was going, who's laughing now? So sometimes when you get these cartridges or these, something chambered in this, it might seem a bit extravagant at the time you buy it, but there could be advantages that you don't see until they happen.
Oh, yeah. And the ammunition market has expanded, and they've got so many different horizons, over 22 now, that you can, it's like you said, Squib, it's all in your purpose. If you're just going to plink, get a standard plinking load. I run CCI quiet if I'm shooting the revolver or the Henry 22 that I've got. That's an excellent little rifle. And I've had no problems with any of the ammunition in either one of those. I've got a 9-shot double action revolver that will gobble up anything that I throw through it. So it all depends on the thing that you're going to do with that particular style of cartridge, bullet, weight, etc.
I played with this one out at the local Shields, the Winchester Wildcat. It's cool, but man, it just feels, it really did feel like a toy, almost like a Gammo air rifle or something. And I'm not ripping on anybody that has one, but for what they were asking, I want to say it was like maybe 175 or something like that. 160, I'd probably rather go the route of Savage. I mean, it's kind of neat. It's got some cool design features on it. I mean, like you put your vertical foregrip on there if you want to, kidding, of course. But yeah, you do have your little bipod mount right there on a Picatinny section. It's got unusual magazines and stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of neat. At least it's a new model. It's something new that just came out, I believe, this year or last year. It's still relatively recent. Got your pick rail up on the top with a little peep sight on the back. I don't know what the trigger's like on these, but yeah, so this is one that we didn't get a chance to talk about. I have no experience with this one, but I think it just came out recently. You can also get threaded, put your suppressor on there too. They've got a bunch of different models. They've got the SR, the True Timber, and then what's the Wild 22 combo? What's this all about? It's got a red dot up on the top of it, inexpensive red dot. I'm not sure.
I've got one barrel for the Contender that's a 22 match grade.
Yeah.
That thing is a tack driver.
Let's do a share screen. I thought I was sharing the screen. I'm sorry, guys. This is the Winchester Wildcat 22 LR that I was talking about. Super lightweight. I mean, it's almost a little bit more front heavy than you want, just because all the weight's up here and the stock has like no weight to it at all. I mean, it's very lightweight plastic, but kind of a neat looking gun.
Nice.
Me, I'd probably still go with the Savage Mark II or 64. So yeah, other
I like
possibilities.
wood.
Yeah, a good wood stock. And here's the thing: if you can find yourself an older, my wife is a left-handed shooter. We got her a left-handed bolt action Savage Mark II, but it was like 20 years old, 25 years old. I looked up the serial number on it, was able to get the year of it. Man, it's got the traditional bluing on it. The trigger's nice and smooth. It didn't have iron sights on it. I think they were removed because it had an optic on the top. We bought it used, but it was still a lot of fun. And so that's always a possibility too. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Gizzard Gary's out there. He says, "What's up, everybody?" Gary, we're about to wrap it up. We've been talking for about an hour and a half about 22 LR rifles, just our experiences with them and our recommendations and so on. And Gary's going to be sending out invites pretty soon for his show that starts at 9 o'clock. I want you guys to get over there and check it out. Don't forget, guys, I did post the links earlier in the chat for you. Make sure you check out Sandhill Shooters channel. Also check out the Sandhill Shooters Patreon, and then also the Black Swan Tactical link that I put at the beginning of the chat. And you can check out those links and get over there and pick up some of that merch to help out the family, as his wife is currently battling lymphoma. So let's see. A couple final comments here. Gizzard Gary says, "At one time, I really wanted the Wildcat. I saw it at SHOT Show in 2020, but after the reviews, not sure I want one. I already have a Marlin Model 60. Yeah, that's kind of the standard. That and the 1022. I mean, those two will really take care of most of your needs, I think. So, all right. So, guys, we're going to go and wrap it up at this
Gizzard,
point. Go ahead, Foos.
Hold on. Gizzard, Can you send me a text of the link, please? I'm traveling, so I'm not going to be able to get a link from YouTube. If you could send me a text of that, please, I'd appreciate it.
Gizzard Gary had a little request out there from Foos. He wants you to send him a text message of the link so he can join in if possible. So,
Hey, Travis.
all right. Yo, what's up?
Who asked that question about me running in a convoy?
Oh no, if you've ever done a cattle drive, or if you do a cattle drive, that was M. Gabriel. Is a cattle drive a trucker term?
Well, I've only pulled a livestock trailer once. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys that do that kind of stuff. I don't. I do not like crowds on the interstate. There's too much that can happen. So if I'm in the realm of a pack or a convoy, as people call it, no. I'll stop, get a coffee, or stop, take a break, whatever, because I've been in those situations and people have messed up and they have caused major messes on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Following too close is the biggest one.
Thanks, you guys. Now I got that song in my head.
10-4 rubber duck. Convoy.
Yep.
We should have started off singing Convoy at the beginning, a little acapella version of it. Convoy, Oh, man. So, anywho. All right. So, a little shout out there to Night Strike for joining us this morning. He was with us. He was the first person to join in. So, I want to thank everybody for being here today on this super early Sunday edition of Caliber Corner. Next week's Caliber should be Saturday morning at 8 o'clock Central Time, our usual time. And maybe a little discussion on 22 LR pistols. I don't know if we've talked about those or if it's been years at this point, but we are quickly approaching season 4. So if you got nothing to do, you can go back and binge listen to the prior 3 seasons of Caliber Corner. We got lots of great information for you and lots of good stuff for you here. M. Gabriel says, I was referring to driving livestock. Okay. I've done a couple just in the pickup truck with the farmers at the back of the line. It's interesting to see how they have to move them from one field to the other and what it actually takes to go from one pasture to the other, especially if you have to go across other ranchers' property and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting it's fun. It's fun to do a couple times. I wouldn't want to make a career out of it. It's definitely rugged work, but it is a lot of fun. So, all right, make sure you guys get over there and check out Gizzard Gary's channel. He's going to be going live here pretty soon. So let's wrap it up and let the panelists put in a few final words before we get out of here. And Single Shot, we will start with you.
All right. Well, folks get a chance to swing over by the channel there. Appreciate you liking and subscribing. We're trying to grow still. We've got a long ways to go, even to 200 subs. So, but we've got some pretty good content over there. I didn't get a chance to put anything up this last time because I was dealing with affairs for my dad.
Okay.
And that's been taking up quite a lot of time when I'm home. I didn't even get a chance to get out and do a little shooting, so things are quite busy when I do get home. Check out the channel, Single Shot, 2 words with an exclamation point right after the T. And take care. God bless. America moves by truck.
Right on, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Appreciate having you here on the panel and contribute to the chat. We had a good time. All right. Squiblift. Anything you want to say before we go?
After America moves by truck, the product moves by forklift. So watch out, because most forklift drivers aren't looking out for you. There's your public safety announcement for today.
And the product gets bought by me.
Now, if you're buying it by the pallet, you are the man.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I binge purchase my auto parts. Yeah. All right. And up next we got Foos. Foos, anything you want to say before we go? I did have to mute you for background noise, Foos. I do apologize. You might need to mute yourself there.
Oh, I'm sorry. No worries.
Oh, that's all good, man. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Currently going 20 miles an hour on an interstate.
Backed up traffic or what? Yeah.
Construction and accident. And an accident inside a construction zone.
Well, it's probably all those Husker fans going back to Kansas because we had the spring game yesterday. So you're running into all those people too.
Well,
you know,
except I'm like near Chattanooga, Tennessee.
They're probably out there too. So you know, it's a nationwide thing. So Husker frenzy, I'm telling you. So yeah, this is true.
3 major backups yesterday, and I wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, my road trip home two or three times, it got down to about 15 miles an hour for a couple miles, and that really gave me plenty of time to listen to other people's podcasts on the way home. I'll tell you that. So I was definitely down with OPP for that one, other people's podcasts. But
yeah, you know me.
Yeah, you know me. You know the other people's podcast. I'm down with Gizzard Gary's podcast. That's what I'm down with. Yep. You guys get over there and listen to it.
I'm still waiting for a text from him.
Oh, Gizzard Gary, get that text out to Foos.
Oh no, brother. Sorry, it's there.
It's there. Never mind, Gizzard Gary. You're excused, Gizzard Gary. You're fine.
Yeah. It just I was on my phone was on silent, so I didn't hear it come across.
Gotcha.
Cool.
All right. And last but not least, the OG of the gun channels. He's up there. He's the godfather of the gun channels. Right next to G-Web. G-Web's is like the Dom of the gun channels. And then there's the Godfather. And then there's the Foot Soldiers. But Tony, anything you want to say before we go?
Have a good day. Go listen to Gary.
Exactly, right on. You got nothing going on, or even if you got something going on, put it off to the side, go over there, listen to Gizzard Gary this morning. Have a good time. It's a good chat. Be part of the conversation. All right, cool. All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Let's see, watching over on the YouTube side, we got a little DJ Play Nice, some Gizzard Gary, a little M. Gabriel out there, Squibload. Warsaw Patriot was out there saying good morning. Thomas Rees watched today. Blue Steel 44. Kevin Jung watching us also. It's so nice to see so many people here watching on a non-traditional Caliber Corner morning. So I don't know if I necessarily like this better because it would limit how late I could stay up on a Saturday. Luckily for you guys, I went to bed at 9:30 last night and I had no trouble waking up at 4:30 this morning.
Somebody did.
Dude, I was so tired. Friday kicked my butt. Friday and Saturday when I was out of town. It was worth it, but yeah. Let's see here. Tacos and French fries joining in. Defense Dad also watching. And yeah, a lot of the usual suspects. Scott 79 out there.
Kingpin
Rich White watching this today. What's that?
Do you see Kingpin chimed in there?
Was he at the beginning, at the start there? Kingpin?
He just chimed in with a very important message. Happy every second matters.
Well, yes, absolutely, guys. Make sure you get out there. If you don't know what Every Second Matters is all about, it's a day that we try to make the world known about the importance of the Second Amendment. We do encourage open carry on this day to engage in conversations with people about Every Second Matters. Obviously, you can't open carry in the place that you live. Let's get the rules changed so you can, right? It's that simple. But do remember that today is the 2nd of the month, and it is Every Second Matters. So that's right. Oh, Tim Foley out there says, good morning. Kingpin again to you. Good morning also, and thank you for that awesome message. Always something we should remember. And let's see. That's about it. Mad Sexy's out there too. So, hey, good morning, Mad Sexy. Good to see you. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and call it. So this has been episode number 186, season 3, 22 long rifle chat. On behalf of the panel for joining in, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget, I'm going to have a 40,000 subscriber gun giveaway. We're going to be giving away an Iber Johnson 1911 in cooperation with SS Pawn and your FFL to take the transfer. And more details about that will be coming out this week on the channel, so be watching. And we'll talk about what it's going to take to get entered into that drawing. So that's it, guys. In the meantime, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. Okay. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. Take care. Don't forget, go check out Gizzard Gary's chat going on here in about 20 minutes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye,
Adios,
Alicia.
Alicia. Adios, Felicia.